Hey everyone, this is Holly, and today's video is all about what you can do with Dollar Tree floral foam rings. Let's get to it. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. For this project, I'm using a Dollar Tree funnel and the center of a paper towel roll, and I'm just going to cut the paper towel roll down to about that size. I do end up shortening it a little bit, but just to start with, you know, you always start conservative so you don't cut too much off, and I'm marking it with a pencil. Now I'm going to take this utility knife and I'm just going to start carving in a little dip that goes in that area there. So I start with some slices and then I'm going to cut sideways. And as you can see, it fits right there, and then I kind of push it down and it's firm enough that it sinks into the foam a little bit more and makes little grooves. So now it's just kind of sticking there by itself, which is good. And then I'm just placing the bottom there to make sure we're lined up, and we're going to get back to that later. So I'm using some hot glue on low heat, and I'm just going to go about gluing this down. I add a little bit in the center, and then you'll see how I kind of squish it down. So right here, I'm gluing it, but I'm also pressing. See how it's flush now on both sides? That looks like it's one piece. It's flush with the styrofoam. That's what you want. So it's glued down, and next we're going to take some spackling and we're going to fill in all those little grooves around it where I cut the styrofoam. We're just going to kind of make it cohesive here so it looks like it's all one piece. And for those of you wondering, that tool is from the Dollar Tree, that little plastic spatula. I think it comes in a set of 3 with a knife. Really comes in handy for the spackling thing. And now I'm just taking some water and I lightly mist it just to smooth it down as much as possible, and I use my finger to do that. Now we're going to get to the funnel and we're going to go ahead and cut it. So the first one I cut it too far down, and I thought it needs a little bit of the actual like spout, I guess, to remain so that it can go up inside the styrofoam. So I went ahead and I had to cut another one. So if you saw that in the earlier scenes, that's why. But I go ahead and I cut that little hole at the bottom, and then I spin the funnel in there just to make it sink in. And then I don't like the back here, that gives it away that it's a funnel. So I'm going to go ahead and take some regular scissors and just cut it off. And then we're going to go ahead and glue it up the center of that hole. Next, we're going to use some baking soda and just some regular old apple barrel white acrylic paint, and I'm going to add the baking soda to it. And this just gives paint like a texture. This styrofoam already has a lot of texture, so you actually don't have to work too hard at this to give it texture, which is awesome. But I just start tapping it on with a brush until it looks like this. I just try and make it look like a stucco or some concrete, just anything but styrofoam. And we're all done. It's definitely got the IKEA vibe going on here. This is trending hot. I have a very busy schedule being a full-time YouTuber, so I'd like to thank Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. I use Thrive Market to shop from the comfort of my home. All of my products are delivered straight to my doorstep, and they have the highest quality standards in the industry. I'm not kidding you guys. It's awesome. You can shop Thrive Market's 100% non-GMO catalog with over 1,000 plus restricted ingredients banned from all products on their site. They've done the hard work of sorting out healthy foods for me so I don't have to stress about what's in my groceries. These past 3 years, I've been committed to eating healthy. One of my favorite snacks are these brown rice crackers. Oh my gosh, they are so good. They almost taste like popcorn, and I add sunflower seed butter on them, and it's an amazing taste combination. I also love alternative flours. I've been using them for years, and I use brown rice flour for making my quinoa and brown rice quick bread every week. It's a main staple in my diet, and having it delivered to my door makes it so simple. I totally appreciate too that the products include customer reviews because I heavily rely on those to determine whether or not I want to try something. It's so helpful. I love that Thrive Market's mission is to make healthy and sustainable living easy and affordable for everyone because we truly do need to move in that direction today. And with orders over $49 shipping free, which fits perfectly into my busy schedule, and their lower prices, I'm saving more than ever. So if you want to simplify your grocery shopping, go to thrivemarket.com/hot humble pie to get 30% off your first order and a free gift worth up to $60. I'll leave the link in my description box and in a pinned comment. And thank you again to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. And I don't get any commissions, by the way, from that store. I mean, it's a sponsored video, but I don't get any commissions from the sales. It's definitely worth checking it out. They've got some really nice quality food, just as a side note. Anyway, for this one, as you can see, I am cutting out holes and I'm just taking this neat little carver thing that's actually meant for styrofoam. This is for people who like carve those figurines out of foam, like spray foam. And I thought, I should get one of those. That's neat. Totally makes it easier, but you could easily use a utility knife for this. And then I'm just measuring it out for the candles here. I wrapped this around this green vine and I realized, I thought, I don't want any of the foam to show. And then I realized afterwards, for what I ended up doing, you can skip this, but I just wanted to show you just in case you notice it, like right now. And you think, what did she just do there? That's what I did. So I'm using Dollar Tree flowers. These are all Dollar Tree flowers that I'm going to use on this entire project. And I'm just cutting them down, just leaving enough of the wire stem that I can poke it into the foam. And I'm just going to go about poking a bunch of florals in this. It comes up really, really pretty. Some of you might remember the shopping video that I did where I found these and I was like, oh, those are so pretty. I do eventually get around to crafting with everything that I buy from the Dollar Tree. Even if it takes me years. But anyway, I end up adding some pink in here and some purple and some cream. And I even take the leaves right there. You see that were part of the roses. I put those in different places just to kind of break up the green of the flowers. But this would make such a pretty centerpiece for a wedding or a spring event that you have or summer event. I end up, and those little sticks that you see poking out right there, those are part of the stems. I actually cut those on purpose to poke down into the holes where the candles are going to be so I don't lose track of the holes because I was actually having a hard time finding them at some point. So I thought, we're going to mark those. So now I am putting a rubber band at the bottom of the candles because this just creates like a tighter fit so that you can push it down in the hole right there. And of course, if you have electrical candles, even better, Dollar Tree does sell the tall electric candles. I took these out of another centerpiece because I only had 2 electric candles and I wanted to display it for you so you could see how pretty this looks. But I love this concept and those foam wreaths are so good for this. You could make them for any season, any event, just have fun, but it comes up so beautiful. So we have our foam wreath right here, and I'm going to go ahead and paint this white, and I didn't add any baking soda or anything. It's just going to be regular white acrylic paint. Then I grabbed some of this nautical rope from the Dollar Tree, and this does come apart in 3 different threads, and I just started unwinding it and taking it apart. And for what I wanted the cream color, kind of like a macrame or a crochet look. But if you already have that kind of thread or ribbon, you could use whatever you want for this. You could use twine, sisal rope, I guess raffia even you could do. But I wanted this look here. So I tried brushing it out with a wet brush. It was working okay, but you'll see what I end up getting. I'm going to leave that as a surprise. You'll see down the road here what I end up using. But I do split this apart. And I just put 1 bead on each thread, just one, because we're going to kind of just place those in like different, I guess, like a design. I'm just going to make like a pretty little beaded thing. And I'm going to use some hot glue behind each bead to hold it in place. But I save that to the end because first I want to fan it out and glue it down and make like a fan shape. And I didn't know where the beads would look best until that was done. So if you make this, make sure you do the fanning part first and leave your beads free flowing there before you secure them with hot glue because you want to turn it around really and see the front of it and see how it looks. So here I go with the brush. This was the big surprise here. Here he goes. You can hear my cat. He's giving it away. I took his brush. I did. I took his brush and it worked beautifully. Those like metal teeth right there. Look at that. But that worked best. It does break it up a little bit, but because it breaks it up, it works best to give it a softer look like hair, which is what I wanted. You don't have to do this. And when I was holding it like this, kind of pinching it together so I wouldn't pull it apart by tugging on it and brushing it, I realized I liked it better the way it looked. So I ended up taking another cord and just tying it at the bottom there. And then I'm just going to tie that in a knot and let those pieces hang down and brush them into the fold there, just into the fray or fold, I don't know, whatever, into the string. And then I trim the bottom. I do like an uneven because I think that looks pretty, but it was a little too scraggly looking. So I went ahead and trimmed it up. And then I realized when I was holding it up that it kept wanting to curl in, even though I had brushed it. So I decided to try hairspray and it worked like a charm. So I laid it down, brushed it out, and sprayed a little bit of hairspray. Now this definitely doesn't work to hold it like this, but it does substantially help it from curling inwards so it looks much prettier on the wall. See that? That looks much nicer, I think. So I take a loop and I glue it on the back here, and that's so we can hang it up. And I did end up giving it a second coat of paint around the front there just so no foam was showing. But another idea to do with the foam circle. I mean, this has definitely got a dreamcatcher vibe, right? It's boho, it's beachy, it's summery. I personally think this would look really pretty hanging on the wall outside if you have like a covered patio. For this next idea, I just grabbed a round Dollar Tree sign. If you have a piece of wood that's already the right size, you could use that, but I didn't, and these are super easy to cut. So I just went ahead and I grabbed these metal snippers. They're actually for cutting metal, or I think they call them tin snippers, but they are great for this kind of craft. It just makes cutting it really, really easy. And you can see I'm cutting and then cutting inwards, cutting a little bit and then cutting inwards. That's how you can do it without snapping the board. And then once you get it already round, I found it's really easy just to take your regular sharp scissors and cut it really nice and neat so it looks like you did it with a jigsaw. I do have a jigsaw, but I felt like that would be overkill for this. I felt like I might tear it up. So the tin snips did fine. And then I traced the circle with a permanent marker or just something I could see really well. And I am gluing polyfiberfill on top of it. Now, I get mine from a Walmart pillow. It's super cheap that way. You guys never buy the actual brand name in a bag. It's too expensive. Just go buy a cheap Walmart pillow. Works the same. And you already have it in a case, right? So it's all ready to go. And then I have this really pretty ticking stripe material, and I went ahead and I started to glue that around the edge. And I am going to leave one section open, just a little tiny section, which I do end up having to open a little bit more. You'll see that, but I needed to close it up for the next step. So I just glued all the way around. That's all we're doing here. And now I'm going to cut up strips of this material, the fabric, so that we can cover the hoop. And I'm just taking the strips and I'm going to literally just wrap them around the entire hoop and glue as needed. So pretty much the whole thing is, I think I went about 4 or 5 times around before I had to glue, and that did the trick. And I'm wondering how many of you guys know what we're making. If you guessed a pincushion, you are right. So this is why we needed to leave it open there. I am going to overstuff this because in fact, I could have stuffed it even more. I thought it was stuffed enough, but I would go even higher because I think that looks so cute. And we're just going to put the edge on, and you have a really big, pretty, functional, generous sized pincushion. One of my biggest pet peeves when I used to sew is the pincushions you would buy were never big enough. So I thought this is an excellent idea. You can even poke it into the styrofoam. So lots of room. So I finished it off with a little bit more of that cord there, and then I was going to put it on the inside, and I didn't want to glue it. I was just putting it there to show you guys because I want your opinion. If you think I should do that, I ended up deciding not to. This is what it looks like without it. But yeah, you guys, I used to store all kinds of pins in mine. It wasn't just sewing pins. It was like the round hooped ones, embroidery ones. So this solves the problem, a nice, big, beautiful pincushion. So last week I mentioned if I remember a craft that applies to whatever theme I'm doing that was really good, I will include it in my video, so you'll get all the new DIYs in the beginning like you always do, and then towards the end I'll put ones that maybe a lot of you haven't seen or some of you have seen and you now have it again because you couldn't remember what video it was in. Because I get a lot of emails, you guys asking me where crafts are, and honestly, because it's been a while now that I've been on YouTube, I don't always remember the video. So if I have time over the week to think about it, I can locate some things if they're like shout outs, you know what I mean, where I can really remember them. So this one was fantastic, I thought, and I think I did this summer before last summer, but I took a stovetop cover. It's the larger one in the pack. It comes in a pack of 2, and I covered it with tape, masking tape. You could use duct tape, any sticky tape, just don't use like painter's tape. I don't think it would be sticky enough. And then I chose to cover mine with sisal rope. This is sisal rope from Walmart. It was like $6 or something. And I wanted it to look like a basket, I guess. I think seagrass would be really pretty. Even braided, like the hula skirt from the Dollar Tree would be pretty, I think. Or raffia. All of it would look really good. But look at that. My husband loved this one. I actually made it for the bathroom. And he's like, no. He had me put it in the kitchen. But I did end up having to resort to the flame to kind of burn the grass off, because I have gotten a splinter from that before with sisal rope. So I definitely want it off. But it came up so nice. Let me know what you think. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment, share the video, like the video. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. We would love to have you. And if you'd like to see more of my projects and creations, here's another video I think you'll enjoy watching next.